actuary, and we're going to be looking at some of the issues that have been discussed so far, and of course some of the solutions that have been proffered to you. Thank you so much, Ibrahim. It's a pleasure to have you. Now let's share with us some of those key takeaways, some of those issues that have been brought to the fore that have stood out for you.
First of all, I thank CNBC for having me. Second of all, the most important thing is the appearance of the president for the summit. They have many summits that takes place in different countries, and it's very easy to have it under the auspices of a president. But for the president to come and sit at least through the whole opening, that shows that Nigeria is taking Social Security reform very seriously. So the most important thing is that decision makers are here. So that's the only positive, at least, step. I'm concerned myself of what I have seen in the reform that's taking place, but this I have voiced my points of view during my presentation earlier this morning. So I'd be more than happy to share with you what you like to know.
But we would like to know what these concerns are, especially I'm sure they're as regards to some of the issues that have been brought to the fore.
I mean, regarding Nigeria in particular, the reform that took place in Nigeria, converting the Social Security system from a defined benefit to 100% defined contribution, in my opinion, it's the easy way out for the decision makers to find solutions to solve fiscal problems. However, this is not the full protection what people would expect in a pension to be. I would have liked that to dissect the existing Social Security into a two-pillar, pillar 1, pillar 2, the previous Social Security system or the previous pension system, and says, okay, the pension, the pillar 1 will keep it as is in a defined benefit condition, guaranteeing a pension of 30 to 40% replacement salary at their time of retirement. Then the pillar 2, we can go into defined contribution, allowing people to contribute into that as much as they like, seeking a pension replacement of another 40-50%, or seeking 20-30%, depends upon how the industry they are in, and then the employer how much they can stomach in contributing such and funding such a system.
Now, okay, for this system that Nigeria has adopted, for you, what could be the key risk or key fallout, as it were?
First of all, as I told you a little bit before off air, that individuals themselves are like, with due respect to all individuals, it's like children, and government should be like parents. Children don't see the future very well. So the parents start when the children are young, they give them a daily allowance, then they grow older, they give them a weekly allowance, then they give them monthly allowance, and then people grow how to manage their funds. The future for the general public is like a child, a second day's expense. You cannot tell somebody to come and save in a defined contribution plan, and for that person to really know how much the future hides for them. From country to country, financial needs of the future are different. In countries where healthcare is not provided for retirees, their need for pension is by far larger than in countries where healthcare is provided for retirees. They need less pension to survive.
Okay, sorry, if I can just come in here, yes. Ibrahim, because I'm sure you know that the current pension model was adopted from that of Chile, and some part of it, and the rest was tailor-made for Nigeria. And we've heard the regulators say that Nigeria's pension industry has grown in leaps and bounds, and it appears to be working for us.
Working in appearance. The Chilean model, when the World Bank pushed it heavily throughout the world, a few years later, the Chile model did not work. The cost of running it is by far more than the reward. It took a lot of years to have the Chilean model corrected. And this is why right now the World Bank is not pushing the Chile model as it is. There should be a hybrid models whereby the pillar 1 should be a defined benefit system, and the pillar 2 could be a defined contribution, and allowing the individualized saving as a pillar 3. even Pillar 2 should not be mandated to all industries, should be a voluntary Pillar 2 to some extent.
So are you saying, sorry to butt in again, are you saying that Nigeria, in terms of the pensions industry, we're not on a sustainable path with this contributory pension scheme that we're currently running?
I have my concerns. I have my concerns, although I can definitely say that I have not seen all the regulations that the system is in place. I don't know. I only heard that they will, individuals are allowed to, or may be allowed to use, or the system is considering allowing the people to use some of the pension guarantees against mortgages, which is really could be dangerous, because then people can go and use these guarantees, establish their debt, and then they have no pension and they have debts. It depends upon all the regulation. This has to be really flushed properly.
Is this a trend you see across? I know you're in your experience, you widely travel, especially within the African continent. Is this a trend you see from across African countries? And are you concerned about the overall path of how African countries are structuring or running their pensions industries?
Different African countries have different problems. Although we are one continent, and we think we are in Africa, but we are very, very different. Some countries have very clear mind what they want, but unfortunately their judicial system, their legal system takes forever to change things. So these particular countries, we advise them to put Social Security reform in something called automatic adjustment mechanisms. So that, because if you put a reform, you know you will not be able to change it for 20 years. So you should have a reform that has automatic adjustments in it. In countries where their systems are quite well, they move nicely, they can review every 5 years to 10 years their position. Countries that they have major urban development, such as in Nigeria, their needs are different than countries where they have a big rural life.
All right, thank you so much, Ibrahim. We're going to have to leave it there. Thank you so much for sharing your thoughts with us on the pensions industry here in Africa. I have been talking to Ibrahim Muhanna. He's a social security actuary at the second day of the World Pension Summit Africa Special here in Abuja, Nigeria's Federal Capital Territory.